You're listening to Thunderquack Podcast Network.
So I was supposed to pack on Wednesday. So I came home and I was like, that's all I have to do today. And I was like, well, I better watch something while I eat my dinner. And Netflix is like, you remember that Dirk Gently's on, right? Like, Dirk Gently. You've never watched Dirk Gently. You should watch Dirk Gently. So I was like, fine, Netflix, I'll watch Dirk Gently. And I basically went and finished the whole... So, it's pretty good.
Is it good?
I knew that I was going to enjoy it. But like, here's the thing, I'm not a huge fan of Elijah Wood. But
okay.
I like it in spite of Elijah Wood.
I feel like I can't watch Dirk Gently because it's the showrunner is Max Landis, and he's a real piece of human trash.
Oh.
He's one of those types of guys that when somebody says what you said is inappropriate, he goes, "What? I didn't say anything inappropriate. I'm one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet." And it's like that's always his like sort of justification rather than owning like, oh, I can see how that might have offended somebody.
Right.
He always doubles down on like it's like the I'm not racist, I have black friends defense.
Oh,
it's like that sort of thing where he's like, I'm not sexist, because he wrote the article about Ray being a Mary Sue. Right?
Oh,
he wrote that article.
That's so lame.
Or I don't know if it was an article or if it was like a vlog or something like that. But that came from him.
Oh.
And obviously that thinking is inherently sexist, because by the logic that Rey is a Mary Sue, Luke Skywalker is also a Mary Sue. But we overlook it because Luke is a man. So like we're okay with it, right? Because if you think about it, it's like Luke is some punk kid from a farm town in the middle of nowhere who flies around his little, like the equivalent of like a biplane. Like he basically like flies a crop duster.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the movie, he's flying a fighter plane and blows up the Death Star with zero training whatsoever.
Yeah.
He's also able to use his lightsaber and use the Force and everything in the middle of the movie. He's able to sit in the the gun well and shoot down TIE fighters, and like he can shoot a blaster and he can do this and he can do that, and like nobody would ever question how could like Luke Skywalker can shoot a blaster. And like granted, Luke shoots the blaster rifle at the stormtroopers and misses every time. Leia takes it from him and shoots two stormtroopers. Which is its own thing. But like there like the when Vader is like after he's killed Obi-Wan and he's about to turn to them, somebody says blast the door or something like that, or I can't remember what the line is or what. But it's like Luke, come on, and he looks and he points the blaster rifle, and from across the hangar bay he bullseyes the control and the blast door shut, right?
Yeah. Well, there's stuff about
like he's just as much of a Mary Sue as Rey is.
It's the idea of
at least hers is backed up by the plot of the movie.
Yeah, and there's stuff about gender there, like about like everybody has an idea, like the main character's purpose is to be like a great version of yourself or whatever. The thing that I like that Tumblr
journeys, the heroes are supposed to be heroic.
the thing that I like that Tumblr always comments on is they're like, do people not realize that Rey is like this trashy scavenger who's dirty all the time and is kind of not an idealized, like it's like this thing that people portray her in like the comments or in AU or fanfiction or whatever as like this sort of perfect.
The thing about Rey to me that is the most fascinating about her character is that Luke was very naive but earnest. Rey is also naive and earnest, but Luke wanted to get away from Tatooine and go off and explore and have adventures and stuff. Rey didn't want that.
Yeah.
That's not, what she wanted was a family.
Yeah.
And when you look at their journeys, you look at their heroes' journeys, and this is intentional because Luke gets to Dagobah and he does his training, and then he has the vision of Han and Leia in danger on Bespin, and he goes, right? And Obi-Wan and Yoda tell him, don't go. This is exactly what Vader wants. The Emperor is just going to use you like he used Anakin. Like, don't go. Complete your training so that we can defeat them. And their thinking was flawed as well. But Luke goes anyways, despite what his two wise old teachers tell him not to do, because he thinks he knows better, and he thinks that being a hero is running off and saving the day, right?
Right.
But Rey in The Last Jedi doesn't want to go confront Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And she never refers to him as Kylo Ren once she learns what happened. She only ever calls him Ben.
Yeah.
But she she because no one else will.
Right.
Right? Because she says to Luke, like she doesn't even say it.
Mm-hmm.
She just hands him the lightsaber, like points the lightsaber at him, and he shrugs away, and she basically like looks at him and is like, fine, if you're not gonna do this, then I'm going to go save Ben because he's our last hope.
Yeah, worth it.
She doesn't think of herself as the one saving the day.
Yeah.
She's sent to go get Luke Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
Because Luke Skywalker is going to save the day.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, so she decides I'm gonna go get Ben because if we can turn him, he will save the day.
Yeah, exactly.
She has no ego.
Yeah, she doesn't think it's about her. Can I just say how great it is that I googled Mary Sue, because I always sort of know what Mary, but I don't know like the definition of a Mary Sue, and I always we talk about Mary Sues all the time and blah blah. But anyways, in it, like literally, they use Max Landis's article about Rey and being a Mary Sue as like a popular subject of debate pertains to whether the Star Wars sequel trilogy features a Mary Sue as its protagonist. Like there's a whole big thing about it. And then they say Carolyn Framke of Fox commented that it's not, and then somebody else said that maybe it is, but then overall people are arguing that because of Rey's backstory, this is not true. Anyways, I just think that that's really funny that it's such a very popular thing that is literally in the
all of Rey's...
Oh, gross. Max Landis is your age. It always makes me so mad when I find out that, like, popular executive producers are the same age as me.
Stop. Hold up. Max Landis is the son of John Landis.
Oh.
The director of, like, Animal House and American Werewolf in London. He's a Hollywood kid.
Okay. I feel less bad. Okay.
He's not there based on his own talent. Like, granted, he did write Chronicle. Like, he's done some good stuff. I was gonna say he's got to have done something. But so yeah, he is no more or less talented than, I would say, like the top 10% of creatives. Right. He just has the connections to have that talent recognized.
Gotcha.
I know lots of people who are just as good at writing as he is.
Cool.
Like, I know at least half a dozen people who could write a screenplay as good as Chronicle, but they'll never get a movie made. Right. And they don't pursue stuff like that because they don't know anybody who could even help them get that made. Right?
There's this whole... So this is like that thing about like popular art. Like, is it automatic that you have to keep the art with the creator, or is there some ability? And we talked about this before when we were talking about Arrow and stuff like that. So all the Max Landis stuff aside, because I don't know, I'll look into it. It's kind of a fun show.
I'm sure
I'm
it is.
okay.
I'm sure it's a great show.
And the thing is that I kind of like Douglas Adams as well. Yeah. And so it's a thing, like, it's not like it's from Max Landis' brain. Yeah. It's just he's just adapting. He's adapting something. And it's
Pepper, leave the microphone alone.
It's a good adaptation. Yeah. I actually really do want to read the books now. Yeah. It seems really interesting. But I'm okay with this kind of media. Like,
see, now, like, my thing with Douglas Adams is that, like Hitchhiker's Guide, I really like the movie. I know that that's an unpopular opinion. But
I like the movie too. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's weird.
I had never read the books or any of that, right? Gotcha. So I didn't really know. I knew of Hitchhiker's Guide, but I didn't know Hitchhiker's Guide. Yeah. So when Crystal and I saw it, we were both like, "That was fun." Yeah, I liked it. It's got a great cast. Yeah. I mean, it's got Sam Rockwell and what's his face? Yeah, Watson. Yeah,
Zoe Deschanel and all sorts of
people. Like, the cast is fantastic, right? It's such a I think it's a really great movie. Yeah. And then I got the audiobook for Hitchhiker's Guide, which is supposed to be like as far as audiobooks go, it's like one of the best because it's like almost like radio drama level it's that nice. And I got like maybe about 20 minutes into it and I was like, I can't do this.
Oh no,
I just can't do this. Yeah, because it's like that stuff that I used to complain about with Harry Potter. It's like that first chapter of Harry Potter where it's like,
it's all descriptive. But see, that's the beauty of Douglas Adams.
It's too sing-songy and it's so clever. That's it's obnoxious.
The thing. But that's why it's so good. So, and I have to just say this because it came up on a Tumblr post randomly, and I was teaching students to do speech arts, and one of the passages happened to be from Hitchhiker's Guide, and she's trying to teach us like a 17-year-old about Hitchhiker's Guide who hasn't read it yet, and they're just reading it as like a part of it. It makes no sense. Yeah. But there's this beautiful line, and people had used it in Tumblr, and it's like, the ships hung in the sky in the same way that bricks don't. And it's one of my favorite, like, it's so evocative of something. Like, it's just, and it's funny. Like, it's just like a really cool, and I love that.
I feel like any one of those lines is a great piece of literature by itself. Yeah. What I can't do is sit for a sustained period of time and just hear one after the other, because to me it's a person just sitting on stage brushing their beautiful hair. It's just like, look how pretty I am. And it's like, look how clever I am.
Well, if you've already read, and see, I feel like if you already have seen the movie, one of the things that's great about Douglas Adams, and I can imagine this from the Dirk Gently series, is that I would probably not enjoy reading the Dirk Gently series because once you know what's happening, it's not as evocative. And like, because part of it is that the language sort of takes you on this journey of like humor and discovery of these characters, and I think that's the thing. Like, I've never gone back and reread Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because I don't think that it would have the same resonance.
I think it's a matter, because I don't read that often, and most of the time when I am experiencing a book, it's through an audiobook. Mm-hmm. But the stuff that I enjoy is more often it's more personal. Mm-hmm. It's like, I like novels that go inside the mind, that are first person perspective, right? And like John Carter is a great example. Right. The thing that I love about those books is that they are all told. Well, not all told. The first, I think, like 3 or 4 are told from John Carter's perspective. Yeah. So A Princess of Mars it's essentially a journal. Right. And it's all his experiences. And as he, the thing that I love the most about that first book is that he arrives on Mars, on Barsoom, and he doesn't speak the language. Oh, so he's there for months before he starts to learn it. And he learns it piece by piece by piece. and because he learns it piece by piece by piece,
So, yeah.
we do as well, right? And so
like,
you start to learn some of the words and some of the language that they use, like what a Jedak is, and these phrases and stuff like that. That it is simultaneously world building and character development.
But that's you knowing what you like as a
for sure. So it's like that's what I want more than anything. And so every once in a while, something that's a little bit more of like a third person omniscient, like the way that the Harry Potter books are written.
Yeah, but
because they are observational. It's like, oh, well, here's everything from an objective point of view. Here's what this dragon looks like.
Yeah.
But then Harry experiences something and it talks, or like a Dementor, right? And it's not just the Dementor is big and black and scary. It's the Dementor is big and black and scary, but more importantly, looking at it fills you with this cold, empty feeling of dread.
So you get a little bit of both, and that's what you like. Yeah,
so it's a little bit of both.
Whereas Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the exact, like, is not that. It's just fully... so that's... Yeah, I fully understand why that would be. And because it works for that particular style and that thing, but it's
I understand why people like it. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Right? I would rather see it as a movie. I would rather have it condensed into that format.
Hitchhiker's Guide is not for everybody.
No.
In terms of, like, just as a book or as a narrative as well. So
yeah,
it's all good. But yeah, it's Dirk Gently worth checking out. It's kind of cool.
I think I have it in my queue, but I think I have other stuff ahead of that I would rather. So Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I haven't finished the first season yet, but I'm one episode away from the end. But I love stuff that is cohesive, long-form narrative. It's like an 8-hour movie, and that's what I really love. So that's
like
why
Things,
I like it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you want an 8-hour movie that actually ties together a lot of stuff real well, and also the guy that plays he was the evil guy in the terrible Fantastic Four movies from a real long time ago. I want to say his name is Victor, but it's not. That's his name. That's the character's name.
Yeah, I know the actor.
You know the actor I'm talking about. He's doing like a TV resurgence right now. Anyways,
from Nip Tuck.
He's in Runaways, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing like a.
We finished it, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we finished the season.
Nice.
And I'll just say to everybody who made, and look, Curtis, I'm calling you. You're not listening to this, but Curtis Finley, my co-host on Cartoon Afternoon and Pullbox Podcast, I'm calling you out because you made this observation, which I'm not even going to put my fingers up to do the quote smart because you guys heard it in my voice. Everybody's saying around like the middle of the season, I'm really enjoying Runaways, but I'm just wondering when exactly are they going to run away?
Right.
Shut your face. Pick up the comic books. They don't run away in the comics until the end of the first volume. Yeah. Just like the series. Guess what? They ran away at the end of season 1. And it's not beat for beat. The series is very different from the comics.
But in a good way.
Almost like the plot could not be more different from the comics. The only thing it retains is in the first episode, and which like the first episode is almost like a copy of the first issue of the series. Yeah. And which is perfect. But from there it's like because they're not dealing with any of the other Marvel Universe stuff, which I don't know, I'm hoping that with the Fox Disney acquisition that in season 2 they'll come back and they'll just like reference Captain America or something like that. They can just
not got that far in Runaways because I do not remember Captain America
in the comics.
In the comics, no.
Well, okay, so they don't. Volume 3 is Escape, or maybe it's Volume 2 is Escape to New York. But when they go to New York, when they do go to New York, it's Volume 3 because Volume 1. I
was gonna say it's got to be.
They run away. 2, Volume 2 is when they confront their parents, and spoilers for a comic that's really old, they kill their parents, or their parents die. I mean, they don't actively kill them, but there's another spoiler that I won't give away because if people are only watching the show, I don't want to give that away. But
I don't think that they're gonna let them kill their parents in the show.
I don't think so either. Yeah, they've structured it
and they've gone so differently.
Yeah.
I'm really liking the way. I guess I don't remember Runaways because I do not remember that
in
kind
volume
of stuff,
3. After everything that happens in volume 2,
Yeah.
the fallout of that is the team leaving Los Angeles and going to New York. The idea, the original premise that Brian K. Vaughan had for setting it in Los Angeles was that on the West Coast there are no superheroes.
Yeah.
Because all of the supervillains are on the East Coast. They're all in Manhattan, right? So you don't need superheroes in LA because there are no supervillains. Only it turns out that the Pride are supervillains. They're just way better at it than any of the East Coast supervillains because they're all low key. Right. And like they all have like legitimate businesses and stuff. They're all Norman Osborn without the Green Goblin, basically, right? So like that's sort of the whole premise. So to escape from that, they go to New York, and when they go to New York, they run into Spider-Man, and then Wolverine shows up because Molly is a mutant, right? And then at the end of it, Captain America shows up, and that's sort of the thing that like because they're runaways, right? And they don't have parents, and so like Cap shows up and is like they want to help them, right? But
I didn't know
they're also the police essentially, right?
And that's such a weird thing. I didn't realize that Molly was a mutant. I forgot all of this stuff. But I like what they're doing in the show. Like it's all good. Anyways, so they can be their own thing.
I do hope that they come back after the ink is dry on that deal, and they can just retcon it. It's like there are two things that I hope that just get retconned, that don't go away. They just get retconned, and they can just continue doing what they're doing. Deadpool and Runaways. Because like with Deadpool, the first movie, and the second movie comes out later this year, so we'll see what happens in that one. But the first movie can be in the MCU. There's nothing in it that stops it from being in the MCU. Because it's the only thing would be a Deadpool referencing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. But he's Deadpool, so he can reference outside of the continuity that he's in. Because he can break the fourth wall. It's one of his superpowers, right? But like the final fight in Deadpool takes place on a helicarrier. Like you go back and watch that movie, that's a helicarrier, but it doesn't look like the helicarriers.
I thought it was a shipbuilding port.
Yeah, but if you look at it, it has jets on it. Like it has big jet engines on the sides of this battleship that they're fighting on. So it is a helicarrier. It's meant to be a helicarrier. And you just keep going with Deadpool. You bring back that Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and you just put the rest of the X-Men in one of them.
But here's the thing, I don't need it to be. Why can't it just be its own thing? The whole Marvel universe doesn't have to be connected.
Yes,
I'm perfectly fine with Deadpool being its own thing. Okay, well you can do whatever you want. But I didn't
want
know
it to be connected because I want the new Spider-Man. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. Who's the kid that plays Spider-Man now?
Oh no, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah. All I could think was Tom Hiddleston, but who's Loki, obviously. But I want Tom Holland to show up in Runaways. It's never gonna happen, but wouldn't that be awesome if, like, in season 3 they do go to New York?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And there's just one episode where Spider-Man shows up, and they don't even like this is the thing. Get creative about how you're gonna do that. Spider-Man never has to take his mask off in that episode that he's in, right? So you just get somebody else
to
in
do
the
it,
suit
and then you just get
to
Tom
show
Holland's
up,
voice,
and then you just get Tom Holland to VO it, and he's in like 2 scenes, and that's it. And he can do his dynamite roll joke, and which that shows how much I love Brian K. Vaughan. Is that like I remember that? So they have a fight, and it's in a sushi place.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Spider-Man does a flip to get out of the way, and he refers to it as a dynamite roll, and it's like, and he's like, too much. And it's like, Brian K. Vaughan's Spider-Man is so good. Because he just writes him with all the silly jokes and stuff. But like I said, it shows how much like he's my favorite comic writer because I memorized one of his Spider-Man jokes. I haven't read that volume in,
I was gonna say, is it a real long time?
A decade.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I read volume 1 for Pullbox a little while ago and thought about continuing and then didn't. But yeah, it's been forever since I read that, but that is stuck in my brain.
Nice.
But yeah, Runaways is good. They ran away at the end. And if you made that pithy comment around the middle of the season, you're a bad person and you should feel bad about yourself.
Well,
not because I want you to feel bad, but because you need to feel bad so that you know you did something wrong, so that you can learn from it and grow as a human being. Because that's what I want for everybody listening to this, is to grow as a human being. Is this going to be our first episode of Irregularly Scheduled?
I don't know, man. Sure.
It's up to you.
Yeah. I mean, it can be.
Okay.
Julian McMahon. McMahon?
McMahon?
Is
Yeah.
that it?
Yeah, McMahon. Yeah. McMahon.
McMahon. Anyways, that's the actor that's now burning his way through TV, like really good TV right now. Yeah. So it's good. He does a good job. He plays. Yeah, I like his character in Dirk Gently. Because you only see him as a photograph in the first episode, and I was like, hey, that actor guy, obviously he's going to be important later. They're just referencing this person.
On the flip side of your Netflix experience, I've been going through Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Nice.
Which is the exact opposite of what you described. It's like an 8-hour movie. It's like these are 15-minute conversations, like that cut down to just the bare bones.
Nice.
But I've been going through that and enjoying it.
Cool. But yeah, this could be irregularly scheduled. Why not? I mean, I am specifically podcasting tomorrow with Ryan for something, so I don't know what that'll be.
Well, that'll just be the Thunder Quack podcast.
Oh, yeah. So good. Yeah. These were always meant to be irregularly scheduled. It's kind of the reason why irregularly scheduled was made.
Well, kind of. Irregularly scheduled was originally so that I could just do whatever I wanted to do without any rules.
Fair.
But then I realized I don't have any time to do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I tried, but...
This is good. Pre-Arrow time is a good time to talk about everything.
So yeah, so it's fine that it's
awesome.
Both of us now. This will go up on Patreon for Patreon supporters.
Yeah.
Sometime, maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll push it to Saturday. Maybe I'll stagger those releases so that Fridays people get Quiver, and then Saturdays they get irregularly scheduled on Patreon, and then a week later it'll go live to everybody on the irregularly scheduled website. Which means that I don't have to get that ready this week.
Yeah.
I can do that next week. Buy myself a week.
Yay.
Which is nice.
I like, now that it's recorded, it has to happen.
Yep.
Excellent.
Okay, cool. We won't even have like
an intro. It's just random.
I don't care.
Yeah.
What, like...
Thunderquack, where we don't care.
all of that stuff is like this idea of like, oh, well, if we tell everybody our Twitter, then they'll go follow us. If we tell them where the website is, they'll go read the website. And that's fine for Quiver and Rebels because
there's actual stuff
because
there.
Tim is over there and he's actually like posting news.
Yeah.
But the irregularly scheduled website, it only exists so that there's an RSS feed to put into iTunes.
Nice.
It's the sole purpose of it.
Good.
So don't go there. Just don't do it.
But people can ask us questions still on Twitter.
They could.
But they could listen to.
So the larger point of that is that if you're listening to this, you already know where to go. Go listen to one of the other podcasts.
Thanks for listening to the Irregularly Scheduled. Hey, this has been Mike and Amanda talk about random things.
See, but now you're doing an outro.
No, I'm not.
That was kind of an outro. That was like the start of an outro. Don't do it.
Fine.
It just ends.